So why is it important to really show empathy? Why is it important to understand the other person's perspective before criticizing them or giving them feedback? When Stephen Covey wrote his book, Seven Habits of Highly Effective People, and the fifth habit said, seek first to understand, then to be understood. He was talking about what we call empathic listening, which means a lot of times we listen so that we can respond to what the other person is saying. But here, he's talking about listen to just understand what the other person is saying. In which case, it is important for us to understand the other person's situation, know where they are coming from, or why their point holds so much value for them. A lot of times we think feedback or telling somebody what they're doing wrong is all about we telling them and they're listening to us and taking things forward. That's not true. Unless we understand why the other person is behaving the way they are behaving, unless we really make it a point to put time and effort to listen to the other person and see things from their perspective, we may ultimately not be able to help that person to actually achieve the change in behavior or in their performance. Which is why empathy is a very powerful technique and a very powerful skill. It is also something that does not come easy to all of us. And we need to constantly practice listening and choosing not to judge and choosing not to respond immediately. One thing that will help in empathy is to choose to do what we call reflecting. Reflecting is about talking back to the other person or telling the other person or repeating to the other person what are the feelings that that person is just expressing. For example, if somebody tells you, how could the client just make this deadline so short? Now, one way to reflect is you sound upset. You're just reflecting the feeling and you're not really trying to say, well, clients are like that. What can we do? Well, we still have to deliver. We can't help it. I know. How can he be that way? Or to try to give some idea or a solution. Empathy is not about offering a solution. It's not about responding. It is about understanding and just reflecting to the other person where they are. Another important reason why empathy is important is we never have the entire big picture for ourselves. In organizations or in teams, each one of us sometimes has a small part of the puzzle. Just like the four blind men who wanted to understand how an elephant looks. And when one person touched the body of the elephant and he decided that the elephant is flat like a wall, one touches the tail and decides the elephant is thin like a rope, and one touches the trunk and decides that the elephant is like a cylinder, and the last one touches the trunk and decides it's long and tapering. But none of them have the entire big picture of really how an elephant looks. And the only way they can get that big picture is if all four of them are willing to go and look from the perspective of the man looking at the wall, at the body, from the perspective of the man looking at the leg, and the perspective of the other two men. Only when they walk in their shoes and see things from all sides of points of view and from all perspectives, they get the entire big picture by which they can provide better solutions for their teams and for their organization.